All right, so get this. You sent us a ton of info on dandelions.
Wow.
Yeah, and not just like your average backyard variety either. We're talking about medicinal uses, recipes, historical stuff.
Interesting.
Yeah. Are you thinking about starting a dandelion farm or something? Or maybe leading a dandelion revolution? Whatever it is, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's really fascinating how dandelions have been a part of human history for centuries,
Really?
Yeah, and in so many cultures, they pop up in folk medicine. You see them in food and even folklore.
Wow.
But somewhere along the line, it seems like a lot of us just started to see them as a nuisance, like just a weed.
Okay, so let's break this down then. We've got all these articles and research summaries, even some historical accounts.
Uh-huh.
So today's deep dive is all about uncovering the hidden depth of dandelions.
I like it.
We're going to try to understand why they've held such a prominent place throughout history.
Okay.
We're talking about potential benefits for everything from digestion to even skincare.
Yeah, and it's amazing when you look at the nutritional profile of dandelions, it's not just about vitamins and minerals, it's the concentration of them and how readily available they are to the body that makes them so special.
So not your average salad green then.
Exactly.
Yeah.
For example, we all know that vitamin A is important for our vision, right?
Right.
Well, gram for gram, dandelion greens can pack even more beta-carotene than carrots.
Really?
Yeah, and beta-carotene is what our body converts into vitamin A.
Wow.
And it's not just about the amount of beta-carotene, it's how well our bodies can actually absorb and use it. Dandelion's beta-carotene is incredibly bioavailable.
Okay, so you're saying it's not just about eating your greens, it's about what your body can actually do with those greens.
Exactly.
That's a good point. Okay, so we're off to a good start. What else can we find in these nutritional powerhouses?
Well, they're also packed with antioxidants, like vitamin C, which we know helps protect ourselves from damage.
Uh-huh.
And then there's the fiber content, which is really interesting when it comes to dandelions.
Yeah, I was taking a look at that. They're high in inulin, which I know is supposed to be great for your gut, but remind me, what is it about inulin that makes it so special?
Okay, so think of your gut like a complex ecosystem with trillions of bacteria all living there.
Okay.
Some of these bacteria are good for us and some not so much.
Right.
So we want to do what we can to support the good bacteria, and that's where inulin comes in. It's a prebiotic, meaning it acts as food for those beneficial bacteria.
So it's like we're giving those good bacteria a boost to help them outcompete the bad ones.
Exactly. And a balanced gut microbiome is actually linked to all kinds of benefits.
Like what?
Well, things like better digestion and nutrient absorption, stronger immunity, and even mental well-being.
Wow, so you're telling me that these dandelions aren't just good for my gut, they could be good for my entire system.
That's what the research suggests.
Okay, so far we've got this superpowered nutrition and gut health benefits. What else is there? I was also really interested in all the historical references to dandelions being used as a liver tonic.
Right, and that's a great example of how traditional wisdom lines up with what we're finding in scientific research.
Really?
Yeah, studies suggest that compounds found in dandelion root, like taraxacin and taraxasterol, can actually help to protect and support liver function.
So it's not just an old wives' tale or something. What are these compounds actually doing in the liver?
Well, they work in a few different ways. First, they can help stimulate bile production and flow, which is essential for breaking down fats and getting rid of waste products from the body.
Okay.
Secondly, they have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties that can help protect the liver from damage caused by toxins and stress.
So it's kind of like a multi-pronged defense system for the liver.
Exactly.
So dandelions could actually help with detoxification.
It's possible.
Yeah.
Your liver is always working hard to filter and detoxify your blood, and these compounds in dandelion seem to really help with that. And speaking of detoxification, the research on dandelions and blood sugar regulation is really fascinating.
I was really surprised by that one. I know it's a newer area of study, but what have they found so far?
Well, animal studies have shown that dandelion extracts can improve insulin sensitivity.
Okay.
And insulin is that key hormone that helps your body use glucose for energy,
Right. So when your body becomes resistant to insulin, that can lead to high blood sugar and eventually type 2 diabetes.
Exactly.
So are you saying that dandelion could help the body use insulin more effectively? What does that mean for people who are dealing with blood sugar issues?
Well, it's still early, and we need more research, especially research done on humans. But if these findings hold true, it could mean that dandelions could potentially play a role in managing prediabetes or even type 2 diabetes.
Why, that would be huge. It's incredible to think that something as simple as a dandelion could have such a big impact on something like diabetes. I'm definitely curious to see where the research goes from here. But okay, we've covered nutrition and digestion and liver health and even blood sugar.
It's a lot.
It is. What else is there?
Well, you might be surprised to know that dandelions have also been used traditionally to support the immune system.
Now that you mention it, I think I did see something about that in the research. Something about their vitamin C content and maybe some antimicrobial properties.
That's right. The vitamin C we talked about earlier isn't just an antioxidant. It's also essential for a healthy immune response.
Okay.
And then there's the antimicrobial properties, which can help to stop those harmful microorganisms like bacteria and fungi that can cause infections from growing.
So dandelion is like a double whammy for our immune system. It supports the immune system, and it can potentially even help to ward off infections.
Exactly.
I'm starting to think that we've really underestimated these dandelions.
I think it's safe to say that, and we haven't even talked about all the benefits for the skin.
I know, I can't believe all the stuff we've already talked about with dandelions. It's amazing to think that something as simple as a dandelion could have so much to offer. But I have a question for you before we go on.
Okay.
After hearing all this, do you look at dandelions differently now? Are they still just a pesky weed to you, or are they something more?
That's a good question.
Take a moment to think about that, and we'll be right back to dive into even more fascinating dandelion facts.
Welcome back. So I'm curious to know, has your perspective on dandelions changed at all after that first segment?
Oh, absolutely. I am looking at those little yellow flowers in a whole new light now. But I gotta say, I'm still a little skeptical about some of these claims. Like, can something as common as a dandelion really have that many medicinal properties?
It's a good question, and it's always smart to be a little skeptical.
Hmm.
But the research really suggests that dandelions are more than just weeds. Let's take a closer look at some of the research and see how these benefits actually work in the body.
Perfect. I'd love to learn more about the whole digestive support thing. We were talking about inulin and how it feeds the good bacteria in our gut.
Right.
But why is gut health so important anyway?
Well, our gut microbiome,
Mm.
all those trillions of bacteria that live in our digestive tract,
Uh-huh.
it's really complex, and it affects a lot of different functions in the body. It's like a big city with all these different neighborhoods, and each one has its own job to do.
Okay, I like that analogy. So it's not just about avoiding an upset stomach or something.
Nope, not at all. A balanced gut microbiome is linked to a ton of health benefits. Of course, it's super important for digestion and how well we absorb nutrients,
Right.
but it also impacts our immune system and our mental health and even how our genes express themselves.
Wow. So it's not just about what we eat, but how well our gut can use those nutrients.
Exactly. And that's why prebiotics like inulin are so important. They provide the food that those good bacteria need to grow and thrive.
So it's like we're making sure the good bacteria have all the space and resources they need to do their thing.
Exactly. When your gut microbiome is balanced, you're more likely to have good digestion, a stronger immune system, and even a better mood.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Now, another thing that really interested me was the whole liver support thing. We talked about antioxidants protecting the liver, but are there any specific compounds in dandelions that are especially good for the liver?
Yes, there are. Dandelions have these compounds called taraxacin and taraxastrol, and research has shown that they can protect the liver. Think of them like little helpers, working to support your liver's natural detoxification process.
Okay, so break it down for me. What are those compounds actually doing in the liver?
Well, they work in a few different ways. First, they can help stimulate bile production and flow, which is important for breaking down fats and removing waste products from the body. Second, they have antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, which we know can protect the liver from damage caused by toxins and free radicals.
So dandelions are taking a multi-pronged approach to supporting the liver.
That's right. They're not just targeting one aspect of liver health, they're working on multiple levels to make sure the liver is functioning at its best.
That's pretty impressive. It's like dandelions have this built-in system for supporting one of our most vital organs. Now let's talk about the potential role of dandelions in blood sugar regulation. We know that this is a newer area of research, but what have they found so far?
Well, in animal studies, dandelion extracts have been shown to improve insulin sensitivity.
Okay, remind me, what is insulin again?
So insulin is a hormone that's like a key. It unlocks the door for glucose to enter your cells and be used for energy.
So if you're insulin resistant, your cells aren't responding to that key very well, and that can lead to high blood sugar.
Exactly. And over time, that can lead to type 2 diabetes.
Right.
The really interesting thing is that some studies have shown that dandelion extracts can actually improve how well the body responds to insulin.
So it's like dandelion giving those keys a little WD-40 or something.
Yeah, that's a great way to think about it. And some studies have even shown that dandelion extracts can lower blood sugar levels directly.
Wow. Okay, so we've got this plant that helps balance our gut microbiome and supports liver function and might even help regulate blood sugar. It's like a natural pharmacy all packed into a little yellow flower.
That's a great way to put it.
But let's move on to something else that I found interesting. Dandelion's potential role in immune health. We talked about vitamin C and antioxidants earlier. What about the antimicrobial property?
Right. So antimicrobial means that dandelion can help stop microorganisms like bacteria and fungi, which can cause infections from growing.
So it's like an extra line of defense against those bugs.
Exactly. And it's not just about fighting off infections, it's also about supporting your immune system.
Mhm.
So it's strong enough to prevent those infections from happening in the first place.
Okay, so we've covered digestion, liver support, blood sugar regulation, and immune health. Is there anything these dandelions can't do?
Well, they might not be able to write a symphony,
True.
but they might surprise you with their benefits for the skin.
Right. We haven't even talked about that yet. I gotta admit, I'm still having a hard time wrapping my head around the idea of using a weed for beauty purposes. So how exactly does dandelion benefit the skin?
Well, for starters, they're packed with antioxidants, which we know protect our cells from damage. When it comes to skin, antioxidants can help protect against damage caused by free radicals, which are unstable molecules that can make us look older.
So dandelion is fighting off wrinkles before they even start.
You could say that. And on top of the antioxidants, dandelions also have vitamins A and C, which are both great for the skin.
Okay.
Vitamin A helps promote cell turnover, so your skin looks fresh and youthful. And vitamin C helps with collagen production, which keeps the skin elastic.
So brighter, smoother, more youthful looking skin. Where do I sign up? But seriously, how do you actually use dandelion for skincare? Do you just like rub the flowers on your face?
Well, you could try that, but there are more effective ways to get those dandelion skincare benefits.
Okay.
Dandelion sap, for example, can be applied directly to the skin to treat acne and eczema. It's got astringent and anti-inflammatory properties that can help soothe and heal the skin.
Really? So you're telling me I could ditch my expensive face creams and just raid my backyard
And
instead?
maybe not completely, but dandelions can be a great natural addition to your skincare routine. And if you like using toners, dandelion tea is a great natural option. It can help balance your skin's pH tighten pores and reduce inflammation. You just brew a cup, let it cool, and then apply it to your face with a cotton ball.
Okay, I'm definitely adding dandelion tea to my shopping list. This is also so fascinating, but I'm still a little bit skeptical. Can something as common as a dandelion really be that beneficial?
It's understandable to be skeptical, but more and more research is showing that dandelions are so much more than just weeds. They've got all these nutrients and medicinal properties that have been known for centuries, and they're incredibly versatile.
I guess we shouldn't underestimate the power of nature. But before we get too carried away with all the amazing things dandelions can do, let's take a step back and think about the potential downsides.
Good idea.
Are there any risks or things we should be cautious about before we start adding dandelions to our food or our skincare routine? We'll tackle those questions and more when we come back for the final part of our dandelion deep dive.
Welcome back to our dandelion deep dive. We spent the last two segments talking about all the amazing things dandelions can do, but it's important to be realistic too.
Absolutely. Just because something is natural doesn't mean it's safe for everyone. Exactly. So let's talk about the potential downsides. What should people be aware of before they start eating dandelions or using them for skincare?
Well, the first thing to keep in mind is allergies. Dandelions are part of the ragweed family.
Oh, right.
So if you're allergic to ragweed, there's a good chance you'll have a reaction to dandelions too.
That makes sense. So what kinds of reactions should people be watching for?
It really depends. Some people might just get a little itchy or have some mild skin irritation,
Okay.
but others might have a more serious reaction, like sneezing congestion or even trouble breathing.
So it's something to be careful about, for sure.
Yeah.
Especially if you have allergies already. What's the best thing to do if you're not sure?
Start small.
Okay.
Just try a tiny bit of dandelion, like maybe one leaf or a sip of tea,
Okay.
and see how your body reacts. If you have any kind of bad reaction, it's best to just avoid dandelions altogether.
Good advice. What about interactions with medications? Should people check with their doctor before they start using dandelions, especially if they're already taking other medications?
It's always a good idea to check with your doctor. Dandelions can interact with certain medications, especially diuretics and blood thinners.
Okay.
So it's always best to talk to your doctor or pharmacist to make sure there won't be any problems.
Better safe than sorry. Right.
No.
Okay, let's talk about sourcing. If you're going to forage for dandelions, are there certain things you should keep in mind?
Yeah, location is super important. You don't want to pick dandelions from areas that might be contaminated with pesticides or herbicides or other pollutants.
Okay.
So stay away from roadsides and industrial areas and even parks where they might use chemical treatments.
Right. You don't want to be eating those chemicals along with your healthy dandelions.
Exactly. And when you're harvesting dandelions, make sure you're absolutely positive that you've identified the plant correctly.
Okay.
There are some plants out there that look like dandelions, but they can be harmful.
Oh, wow.
So if you're not sure, it's always best to just leave it alone.
Yeah. Better safe than sorry. Is there anything else we should be careful about?
One more thing. Dandelion greens can absorb nitrates from the soil.
Oh.
And if you eat too many nitrates, it can be a problem.
Okay.
But the good news is you can avoid this by just eating dandelions in moderation as part of a balanced diet.
Okay. Good to know. So it seems like if you use a little common sense and you're aware of the potential risks adding dandelions to your life, can be a safe and healthy way to improve your well-being.
I agree. And one of the best things about dandelions is that they're often free. You can just pick them right in your backyard.
That's a good point. It's like nature's gift to us.
Exactly. But remember, sustainable foraging is important.
Yeah.
Only take what you need and be mindful of the environment.
Right. We want to enjoy the benefits of dandelions without harming the planet. So after learning all about dandelions, where do you stand? Are you on Team Dandelion?
I have to say, I'm impressed. They're packed with nutrients. They've got a long history of medicinal use, and they're incredibly versatile in the kitchen and even for skincare. I think I'm definitely Team Dandelion.
Me too. I'm already thinking about all the ways I can add more dandelions to my life. Dandelion teas, dandelion salad, maybe even some dandelion coffee.
Sounds delicious. And if you're feeling adventurous, you could even try making dandelion wine or dandelion fritters.
Ooh, now you're talking. So listeners, we've just scratched the surface here, but hopefully we've piqued your interest in the amazing world of dandelions. Keep exploring, keep learning, and don't be afraid to get creative with how you use dandelions.
Yeah, and most importantly, keep an open mind. You never know what amazing things you might find hiding right in front of you.
Well said. So if you discover something cool, or if you try that dandelion coffee, let us know. Until next time, happy foraging, and may your world be filled with the sunshine of dandelions.